Let's take a look at the audio settings menu on the AVH-X1600DVD. What I'm going to do here from any source screen is just touch the home button, and I get my system settings across the bottom here. I'm going to touch the audio settings menu here. Let's start at the top with fade and balance. Right now fade and balance are both set to 0. We can touch that to open the screen, and we can adjust the fade front to rear, and we can adjust the balance right to left. When you're done making those settings, you can just go back. And next up is our graphic EQ on custom number 1. For more information about the graphic EQ, you can check out the EQ settings video. And next up is auto EQ, and right now auto EQ is grayed out because we don't have the optional microphone plugged in. So for more information about operating auto EQ, check out the auto EQ video as well. Next up is our sonic center control right here. Let's open that window. Here we have a representation of the vehicle, and we can steer the stereo image across the front of the vehicle like this, or across over to the driver's side. We'll leave it right there for now. Tune in whatever sounds best to you. And we'll move over to our loudness setting, and right now our loudness is turned off. We can switch it on to its low, mid, or high setting, or we can send it back down and switch the loudness setting off. Next up is our subwoofer menu, and right now our subwoofer is turned on. Let's enter into that menu and see what we have. With subwoofer, we can turn it on, or we can switch the subwoofer off, and all of the other selections become grayed out. We'll switch our subwoofer setting back on. Next up is the phase for the subwoofer output. Right now that phase is set to normal. We could also switch the phase to reverse, depending on what sounds best in your car. Next up is the level of the subwoofer output. We can cut the level back, or we can boost the level up, depending on what sounds best in the car. And then we have the crossover frequency for the subwoofer output. We can choose a lower or a higher frequency based on the music that we're listening to. Once you've made those adjustments, we can step back and we'll scroll down to the next setting. Next up is our bass booster, right now set to 0. We can boost up the bass above 0 if we want to, up to a +6, or we can send that back down to 0. And next up is our high-pass filter. Right now our high-pass filter is turned off. We can switch the high-pass filter on and choose a crossover frequency for our high-pass filter, or you can set that back down to 0 or back down to 2 off. And then we have our source level adjuster. Right now our source level adjuster is grayed out because the source that we're on is FM. So let's change our source to a different source other than FM. I'm going to go and choose USB for right now. I'm going to go right back to my audio settings menu. When we scroll down, you'll see source level adjuster is now lit up, that it's set to 0. So I'm going to open that window, and here source level adjuster is for USB, so I can adjust the volume of the USB compared to the FM. The idea here is that when I switch between sources from FM to USB to disc to iPod, for example, that the volume level will remain somewhere around the same. So if USB isn't as loud as FM, you can use this tool to make it a little louder. When you're done making that adjustment, you can just hit the X to escape.